It happened to you last week. You walked into the grocery store just like you do every Sunday. You walked the same aisles, you bought the same brands, you filled the cart with the staples that keep your house running. The coffee, the cereal, the snacks for the kids. The bill was $200. Maybe it felt a little high, but everything feels high lately, so you paid it and you went home. But then something strange happened. By Wednesday, the cereal box was empty. By Thursday, you were shaking the last few grounds of coffee into the filter. By Friday, the toilet paper roll needed to be changed 3 days earlier than usual. You blamed yourself. You thought maybe the kids are eating more. You thought maybe you mismanaged the budget. You thought maybe you were just being wasteful. But you are gaslighting yourself. You didn't eat more. You didn't waste anything. You were robbed. And you were robbed in a way so mathematically precise and so psychologically engineered that you probably thanked the thief on your way out the sliding doors. You are the victim of a corporate magic trick that is currently draining billions of dollars from the American middle class. They kept the price on the sticker exactly the same, but they changed the physics inside the box. They sold you air instead of chips. They sold you water instead of soap. They sold you plastic divots instead of peanut butter. They stole 15% of your groceries right out from under your nose. And they are betting their record-breaking quarterly profits that you are too busy and too tired to notice. My name is Jack, and I spend way too much time obsessing over the invisible equations that govern our lives and keep us running on a hamster wheel. If you have ever felt like your paycheck is evaporating even though your spending habits haven't changed, if you feel like you are working harder just to stand still, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because today we are performing a forensic audit on your pantry. We are going to expose the shrinkflation scam. We are going to reverse engineer the neurological hacks they use to blind you. And I am going to show you how to stop paying a tax that you never voted for. Let's look at the crime scene. And make no mistake, it is a crime scene. It is just one where the fingerprints are printed right on the packaging. To understand this theft, you have to understand a glitch in the human brain. Behavioral economists call it attribute neglect, but the marketing executives in the boardrooms call it the profit zone. Here's the science behind why this works. When you walk down a grocery aisle, your brain is processing thousands of data points every second. Colors, logos, sales tags, lighting. Your brain is lazy, it craves a shortcut. So it focuses on the one number that brings you pain, the price. That price tag is the anchor. If the price of your favorite chips jumps from $4.99 to $5.49, your alarm bells go off. You get angry. You might switch brands. You might walk away. Corporations know this. They have spent millions of dollars studying your pain threshold. They know that raising the price is dangerous because it wakes you up. So they decided to change the variable you don't look at, the net weight. They know that while your eyes are glued to the dollar sign, your brain ignores the fine print in the corner. Let's look at the evidence. Look at the sports drink in your hand. For years, the standard bottle was 32 ounces, a quart. It was a nice, round number. Then one day, the bottle got a little bit curvier. They called it a new grip. They called it an ergonomic design. But if you looked at the fine print at the bottom, the number changed. It went from 32 ounces to 28 ounces. That is a 12% reduction. The price stayed the same. You just paid a 12% inflation tax without realizing it. Look at your coffee. The standard canister used to be 51 ounces. Then it quietly became 43.5 ounces. That is a 15% reduction. That is roughly 7 days of coffee for a heavy drinker simply vanished. Look at the chips. 9.75 ounces became 9.25 ounces. Half an ounce. It sounds trivial. It sounds like a rounding error, but multiply that half ounce by billions of bags sold globally. That is millions of dollars of pure profit extracted from thin air, or rather extracted from the nitrogen gas they pumped into the bag to fill the void. Look at the toilet paper. This one is particularly brazen. The package still says mega roll. It still takes up the same amount of space in your cart, but the sheet count dropped from 264 sheets to 244 sheets. That is a 7% reduction in product. Imagine if your boss walked into your office and said, "I'm cutting your salary by 7%, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to hope you don't notice when your direct deposit hits." You would quit on the spot. But we rebuy these products every single week. Let's run the math on your life. The average American household spends about $9,500 a year on food. If shrinkflation is quietly skimming just 10% of that volume, and trust me, 10% is a conservative estimate based on the data we are seeing, you are losing $950 a year. That is a car payment, That is a modest vacation. That is your emergency fund contribution. Over a 40-year working life, that is $38,000 vaporized. You aren't eating that food. You are donating it to the shareholder dividends of a conglomerate that thinks you are stupid. But Jack, surely this is just inflation. Surely costs went up, so they had to do this to survive. That is the narrative. That is the press release. Supply chain issues, raw material costs, labor shortages. It sounds reasonable until you look at the earnings calls. While they were shrinking your burger patties, while they were watering down your laundry detergent, their profit margins were expanding. This wasn't about survival. This was about opportunity. They used the cover of inflation, the general panic in the news, to execute a double extraction. Step 1, raise the price a little bit. Step 2, shrink the product a lot. They hit you from both sides, and they laughed all the way to the bank because you only noticed the price hike. Between 2021 and 2023, corporate profit margins in the consumer goods sector hit record highs. They didn't just pass along costs, they used the confusion to take more. So how do they do it? How do they trick millions of people every single day? They have a playbook, and once you see it, you will never unsee it. Here are the techniques of the shrinkflation cartel. Technique number 1 is dimensional manipulation. This is mostly for jars and hard containers. Peanut butter, pasta sauce, jam. The jar looks the same size on the shelf. The height is the same, the width is the same, but turn it over. Look at the bottom, that massive concave indentation that pushes up into the jar. That isn't structural engineering. That is theft. They are hollowing out the container from the inside. They are essentially selling you a false bottom. They maintain the shelf presence, the visual dominance, while removing 3 to 4 ounces of product. Technique number 2 is dilution. This one is insidious because you can't see it. You can only feel it when your clothes don't get clean. Liquids, dish soap, laundry detergent, juice. They reformulate the product. They add more water, they add more fillers. The bottle is the same size, the liquid line is at the top, but the active ingredient, the stuff you are actually paying for, has been cut by 15%. You find yourself using 2 caps of detergent instead of 1. You run out twice as fast. You buy more. The cycle accelerates. Technique number 3 is the count. This is for the parents. The boxed snacks, the granola bars, the nuggets. The box says family size. It uses bright red letters. But inside, the tray has changed. There used to be 10 bars. Now there are 8. They use plastic spacers to fill the gaps so the box doesn't rattle. They engineered a piece of trash specifically to hide the fact that they took your food. Burger King did this with nuggets. 10 became 8. A 20% reduction in calories, 0% reduction in price. Technique number 4 is the serving size gaslight. This is my personal favorite because it involves pure, unadulterated psychological manipulation. They shrink the package, but they want the nutritional label to look good. They want to say low calorie or low sugar. So what do? They change the definition of a serving size. Suddenly, a candy bar isn't 1 serving, it is 2 servings. Or they quietly increase the number of servings on the box while reducing the total weight, implying you should just eat less. They manipulate the math on the back to hide the robbery on the front. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jack, this is annoying, but is it really a trap? Is it really keeping me poor? Yes, because of the boots theory. We talk about the poverty premium on this channel constantly. Shrinkflation is a regressive tax. It hits the poor and the middle class hardest. If you are wealthy, you buy in bulk. You buy the 50-pound bag of rice at Costco. You buy the whole cow from a local farmer. You are immune to the shrinkflation of the 12-ounce package because you are buying raw commodities. But if you are living paycheck to paycheck, if you have $50 to spend on groceries for the week, you are forced to buy the smaller packages. You are forced to participate in the market where the theft is happening. You are paying a premium for having less capital. You are buying air and plastic because you can't afford to buy efficiency. And the worst part, it destroys your ability to budget. Financial experts tell you to track your spending. Keep your food budget to $600 a month, they say. But how can you track your budget when the unit of measurement keeps changing? You spend $600, but you get 4,000 fewer calories. You run out of food on the 25th of the month. You have to go back to the store. You spend another $150. Now you blew your budget. You feel guilty. You think you lack discipline. But you didn't lack discipline. You lacked a scale. You lacked the insider knowledge that the game was rigged against you. The grocery store is not a friendly neighborhood market. It is a battlefield. Every inch of that shelf is paid real estate. Every package color is focus grouped. Every new look sticker is a distraction technique. They have teams of PhDs working 60 hours a week to figure out how to take 15% of your wealth without you noticing. They think you are a passive consumer. They think you are a sheep to be sheared. So how do we fight this? How do we hack a system that is designed to bleed us dry? You cannot opt out of eating, but you can opt out of the deception. Here is the strategy. Rule number 1, ignore the price tag. The big number on the shelf is a lie. It tells you what you pay, not what you get. You need to look for the small number, the orange tag, the unit price, price per ounce, price per pound, price per sheet. This is the only number that matters. This is the truth serum. If the family size box is 45 cents an ounce and the regular box is 42 cents an ounce, you are being scammed by the packaging. The corporations rely on you being too tired to read the small print. Don't be tired. Be angry. Be vigilant. Rule number 2, buy by weight, not by box. Stop buying branded cardboard. Start buying raw materials. The produce section hasn't figured out how to shrink a potato yet. The bulk bin section sells you rice by the pound, not by the serving. The butcher counter sells meat by the ounce, not by the patty. When you buy raw ingredients, you strip away the packaging engineer's ability to lie to you. You are buying physics, not marketing. Rule number 3, audit your loyalty. We are loyal creatures. We buy the same detergent our mom bought. We buy the same chips we liked in college. Brand loyalty is the tax you pay for nostalgia. Corporations count on that loyalty. They assume you won't switch just because they stole 4 ounces. Prove them wrong. If a brand shrinks, fire them. Switch to the generic. Switch to the competitor. Switch to the store brand, which is often made in the exact same factory but costs 30% less. The only signal they understand is a drop in revenue. Be the drop in revenue. Rule number 4, document the theft. Take photos. When you see a bag of chips that is 70% air, post it. When you see a box that has shrunk, call it out. The only reason this scam works is because it happens in the dark. It happens in the quiet confusion of the aisle. Shine a light on it. Share the information with your network. The corporations are betting on your silence. Don't give it to them. Here is the bottom line. You work hard for your money. You trade hours of your life, hours away from your family, hours of stress to earn that paycheck. When a company uses a psychological trick to take 15% of that value away, they aren't just taking your money. They are taking your time. They are taking your life. Shrinkflation is not just a business strategy. It is a breach of contract. It is a violation of the trust between buyer and seller. They broke the deal. Now it is up to you to enforce the penalty. Be a forensic accountant. Look at the unit price, check the net weight, and refuse to pay full price for an empty box. This isn't just about chips. It's about respect. It's about refusing to be played. Be the glitch in their algorithm. If this video made you want to bring a calculator to the grocery store, share it with a friend who is wondering why their grocery bill doubled. Let's wake them up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.